Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah, and for today's video I'm going to do a short review on Damned by Chuck Palahniuk. This is actually the first book that I have read by this author. He has tons of books out. He's very well known. I want to say probably his his most well-known book is Fight Club. But this is the first one that I have read by him, and it was interesting to say the very least. I knew that all of his works are very satirical, a lot of social commentary in them, so I was really looking forward to that aspect of this book. And then just the whole idea of this book was so different and so intriguing to me that I had to read it. So basically, our story follows a 13-year-old girl named Madison who has recently died and found herself in hell. So the whole story is kind of her journey through hell. She does have her cell, but then there's also many different areas of hell that her and her friends kind of walk through and go through. It's really kind of disgusting, honestly, the different areas of this hell described here. We have a sea of insects, which is really probably the most tame description that there is. But there's also a lot of different bodies of water. We have different lakes and rivers that are made up of multiple different bodily fluids. I'm not gonna say any more than that because it does get pretty gross. But there are multiple ones, and they're all filled with something different, all of a different kind of bodily fluid. So if you are queasy and don't like stuff like that, I definitely don't recommend this book. And also, it is very adult as well. There are some scenes in here that are definitely not appropriate for young readers. And if it's something that you are just not into, I would maybe stay away from this book. But if those are things that don't really bother you and you like social commentary or satire, I would definitely recommend this book. I think there are three main topics that Chuck Palahniuk has satirized in this book, and that would be adolescence, religion, and environmentalism. So we have this whole story told from the point of view of a 13-year-old girl. She's very sassy and very just a typical teenager, typical young teenager who she finds herself in hell. So you can imagine the kinds of things that a 13-year-old in hell might say. It's very, very funny, and in some parts very interesting. And as far as the religion and environmentalism goes, this book basically... So as far as the religion and environmentalism goes, Madison gives us a lot of information about her parents and how she was raised, and they live a very green life. Their whole thing is, if you treat the earth well, then you will be treated well in your afterlife. But as Madison gets to hell, she realizes that's not exactly the case, and it just... One thing that I thought was really interesting in this book is every chapter starts with a little dialogue that Madison is talking to Satan. It always starts with, "Are you there, Satan? It's me, Madison," which I know that is taken from another book that I cannot think of what it's called right now. But if I remember, I'll put that in the description box down below. But it's so interesting to hear this young girl talking to Satan, who we never do hear a response from. But still, just the things that she says to him, it's almost like he's a celebrity to her. She wants to meet him. She wants to talk to these different demons, and it's so interesting. And while she's there, it turns out that she may have been placed there by accident, that she should have actually gone to heaven instead of hell. So she does have to go through this lie detector test type thing, and the questions that are asked of her are pretty stereotypical of what you would think about what would allow someone to get into heaven. Do you believe God is the one true God? Stuff along those lines. And she does have, on the one hand, what she knows she should say, and then what she wants to say. I won't say which she goes with, because I do think that is a good thing to read on your own for the first time, but it's really interesting how that goes. And while she's waiting on this verdict to come back, she actually she rises up to some power down in hell. There are many different little cliques and gangs within hell, based on the different leaders there. One of them, one of the most prominent ones, is actually Adolf Hitler and his little crew. And for every gang that she overpowers, she takes some type of memento from them, some type of trophy. And what she actually takes from Hitler is his mustache. So she kind of skins his lip where that is and keeps the mustache on her. She has one from everyone that she does overcome. So she rises to this uncanny power down in hell as a 13-year-old girl. And it's very, very interesting to see that progression, and seeing how she talks about herself in the beginning of it as just a young fat girl who overdosed on marijuana. That's how she believes she died, which we find out isn't exactly the case. But how she goes from thinking of herself that way to being in this place of power at the end, it's a great little journey, and it's great character development. I really enjoyed it. We do hear our verdict at the end, whether or not she does belong in heaven or hell. I'm obviously not going to tell you what it is, but I will say that there is a sequel to this, and I believe possibly even a third book. So I will be reading the second book very shortly here, and I will definitely be giving my thoughts on that as well. So that's pretty much all I want to say about this book. I feel like if I do say any more, it might start to give things away, and I definitely want this to be spoiler free for those of you who are interested in reading it. And if you are interested in hearing my thoughts on book 2 of this, which is titled Doomed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You will be notified when that does post. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.